We are live with This Is Sporta. How are you guys doing tonight on this lovely Thursday? So, let's get straight into it. Let's get into NFL. Last week's picks. Let's start with my picks against the spread. Not great, right? I think I went 1-4. Chargers. Had them on the spread, took the L. What's up, Pittsburgh? How's it going? Took the L with the Chargers against the spread. The Ravens ran roughshod over them. There's nothing I could do about the Ravens defense showing up and actually playing. Panthers took an L with the Panthers. Sam Darnold's receivers could catch. It's a different game. They lose an OT to Minnesota. Dolphins lose to the Jags in London. 20-23. Again, Dolphins were favored. Should have won the game. The Bills took a big L against the Titans. Had a fourth down, and instead of kicking the field goal to take it to overtime, they decided to go for it. And it didn't work out for them. Titans make a big defensive stand, and Bills end up losing. The Chiefs, my lone win against the spread last week, decimated the Washington football team, or for those that don't care, the Washington Redskins. So against the spread, completely awful. Straight up though, 5-0. I took the Bucks, they got the dub. I took the Rams, they got the dub. I took the Colts, they got the dub. I took the Cowboys, they won, and the Packers apparently still own the Chicago Bears. So 5-0 straight up, 1-4 against the spread for a total of 6-4 on the week. Again, this isn't gambling advice. Don't take it. Don't spend your money making picks that I pick, because that's not, I'm not promoting it. And if you lose your mortgage and your house, I'm not paying for it. So, last week's games were pretty solid all the way around. There are some teams that surprised me, like the Ravens, who really showed up against the Chargers. A Chargers team that I had in I believe I had in my power rankings last week, and they just I had the Chargers at 2, and the Ravens ran roughshod over them. So this week's power rankings, you're going to see new faces, new teams. Again, this isn't something that's a season-long power ranking. This is week to week. It's completely my choosing. Same with the quarterback power rankings that I will go over. The Cardinals continue to be undefeated. I don't think they'll stay undefeated all season. I think they will come up with probably 2 to 3 losses on the year. But as for now, Kyler Murray's doing great things with that Cliff Kingsbury offense, and that defense is playing phenomenal with J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones there. And then they made a big move this week to go get Zach Ertz, a tight end, a solid weapon. It seems like they're really going for it. They're going for it all this year, which is, it's good to see. But at the same time, there's so many good teams in the league. I just don't know. So let's get into my picks for this week. I picked 3 against the spread, and I picked 3 straight up. Instead of 5-5, 3-3. So against the spread, I took the Panthers, which I don't know why they lost me last week. Panthers are 3-point favorites against the New York Giants. Giants are in disarray. I think the Panthers bounce back. Panthers take that win. The Indianapolis Colts are a +4 against the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco. I think personally the time difference there is going to help them out. I believe that the couple hours that they'll get sleeping are going to help the Colts. Carson Wentz looks like he's coming into the Carson Wentz that we remember during that MVP-esque run he had in Philly. And the San Francisco 49ers, to me, right now, just aren't a team that I chose to win the division at the beginning of the year. Injuries have piled up, and it's it's looking a lot like last year. Trey Lance, again, has a bright future. I don't think he's the guy that should be playing right now when that team is not ready. The third team against the spread is the Tennessee Titans. They are a +5.5. Well, they started at a +5.5. Right now, they are a +4.5, which means money is coming in on them. And they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who offensively look sound. Patrick Mahomes is playing better, but that defense is still shoddy, and it looks like it's being held together with duct tape. The Tennessee Titans +5.5. I think they cover. I don't think they win. I think they cover. So those are against the spread. Panthers -3, Colts +4, and Titans +5.5. When I did this, they're at 4.5 right now. But at the time when I did this, I'll take the 5.5. Straight up just means just to win. We have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Ravens win outright. The Bengals, to me, right now, just aren't that team that are going to beat the Ravens. Although this would be ripe for a trap game. Ravens coming off a big win against this, I was about to say San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. And I can see them having that mentality and having this trap game. But I think the Ravens win outright. I think they go in and they decimate Joe Burrow. Straight up, also, I have the Arizona Cardinals against the Houston Texans. This is a very different Texans team than the previous years. They have nobody. There's no one good on that team right now. And Arizona is rolling. I would be thoroughly surprised if this is the game Arizona loses. So let's get this lighting right? So I don't look like a ghost. Ooh, spooky. That's better, at least. Maybe I need some makeup, right? Just lighting makeup. Yeah, the Cardinals, I think, manhandle the Texans. I think they take it to them. The third game on that list is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions. I was about to say the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Lions in a return to SoFi for former quarterback Jared Goff. It is the Matt Stafford, Jared Goff debate, the match we all wanted to see, Stafford being a former Lion, Goff being a former Ram. That was the trade that was made in the offseason. I believe Goff was the Rams' weak link. As a Rams fan, I believe Goff was the weak link. We've replaced him with Stafford, who is an MVP candidate in my eyes right now. And I personally believe that the Rams probably wall up the Detroit Lions this week. So straight up, I have the Ravens beating the Bengals, the Rams beating the Lions, and the Cardinals beating the Texans. Against the spread, Panthers cover 3 against the Giants. The Colts get 4 against the 49ers, and the Titans at 5.5 against the Chiefs. So 3 picks this week, 3 against the spread, 3 straight up. 6-4 last week. Not bad as a total. I'm not a professional gambler, and if I was, I would be broke. So my team power rankings this week look different than last week. They really do. After watching the games and actually getting to sit down and watch multiple games and not being in a rush to go, play hockey or work or something like that, I actually had time to sit down and watch some games and really dive into the power rankings. And so last week's power rankings, Buffalo, Chargers, Cowboys, Bucks, and Cardinals, in that order. So what's different this week? the Bills aren't in it. The Bills have fallen out of the top 5, and they're in my 6th spot right now. Chargers have fallen off into that 6th, 7th spot as well. So right now at 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have played great football this season. That defense really showed up against the Chargers. Lamar Jackson is still doing Lamar Jackson things. He is a dual threat quarterback. I don't know, again, how he'll do come playoff time. You know what I mean? There's that stigma against him. 4, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I didn't have the Rams in last week. I brought them in this week, and they look better. Henderson, their running back, had a really good game. Matt Stafford had a fantastic game. Robert Woods is coming back to life. Cooper Kupp is still doing Cooper Kupp things. They're playing like a solid team. They deserve to be in the top 5. The 3, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe they have the best QB in the league in Tom Brady, who I do have a hard-on for. I love Tom Brady. I think he's the best quarterback of all time. I think he's one of the greatest football players of all time. He's done great things. He's a winner. He's a leader. He does everything he needs to do as a professional. And that defense, that front 7, I think is coming around. Now, they're still dealing with a couple injuries, in their secondary, and I think that hurts. But they are my number 3 team. Number 2, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are a multifaceted team. They will win however you make them win. And what I mean by that is, if you want to stop Zeke and Tony Pollard, Dak will air it out to CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and anyone else in a Cowboys jersey at that point, and they will win the game through the air. You want to stop Dak in the passing game, they're going to run roughshod over you with Zeke and Tony Pollard. It is a very well-constructed offense, and their defense that was historically bad last year is above average this year. I'm not saying they're the best, but they are above average, and they have not Stephon Diggs, Quandre Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. They got a Diggs in the backfield, or in the secondary, who has played phenomenal defense, and he really has a chance at beating the interceptions record this year. I think he's at 7 or 8 already, 6 games into the season. Micah Parsons has played really well. Leighton Vander Esch is the Leighton Vander Esch we saw during the rookie season. It's fun to see, and this Cowboys team can win in many different ways. So next, and number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals last week were 5 on my list because I didn't really have a chance to watch a lot of their games other than that Rams game. And that Rams game was the reason they were in my top 5. The Rams themselves are 4. So if they're in there, Cards got to be in there at 6-0. And they have very solid wins. And Kyler Murray is doing really great things. I'd like to see more passing touchdowns out of Kyler. But those will come. He'll do better. I have no doubt that they will. They have a good receiving core and a solid defense. So the Cards are my number 1 team this week. Speaking of Kyler Murray, we are going to go to my quarterback power rankings. And we're going to start in reverse. Number 5, Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. Currently sitting at 1,838 yards, 69.5 completion percentage, a 116.6 passer rating, and 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's a 4-to-1 ratio for those that do math. He is also the highest rated quarterback on this list in terms of passer rating. So it's not all about passer rating. This is all encompassing. Again, my bias, my personal opinion, these are the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Number 4, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has just over 1,700 yards. He's a 73% completion percentage rate, which is fantastic. He's at a 116.2, which is only 0.4 difference from Stafford. And he has 14 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Again, that's where I'd like to see more passing touchdowns. Now, I know Kyler is one of those dual threats who also runs for touchdowns, so the passing touchdowns don't necessarily get held against him. Number 3, Dak Prescott. Now, I know Dak Prescott isn't your traditional pocket passer. He's not a traditional runner. He is a dual threat, not in the Lamar Jackson sense, but one thing that Dak has that I think Tom Brady has is the intangibles, the leadership ability, that quality you want, that when those final 2 minutes come down and you need a score, Dak Prescott will lead you down and do what needs to be done to win the game. He currently sits at 1,813 yards, a 73% completion percentage, a 115 passer rating, and a 16-4 touchdown to interception ratio, the same as Stafford. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know his team hasn't been playing well. His defense has let him down. He has thrown 8 interceptions, but he's still a top 5 quarterback in almost every statistical category. 1,887 yards, 69% completion percentage, 18-8 touchdown to interception ratio, and a 103.1 passer rating. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. No, the league's not figuring him out. He is who he is at this point. He will be a very good QB. Once his team comes around, those wins will come. And number 1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady right now has 2,064 yards. And that was with a very shitty game in New England, right? Like an awful game. But yet he still has 2,000 plus yards, a 68.5 completion percentage, a 108 passer rating, and a 17-3 touchdown to interception ratio. Is he the best quarterback in the league? That's up for debate. In my mind, yes. Currently, yes. You ask me who I want to lead my team to the Super Bowl, it's going to be Tom Brady at this point. He is who he is. He wins. He gets to the playoffs. He gets to the Super Bowl. He does what you need him to do when it counts. So, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, and then Tom Brady. There's a lot of games going on this week. It's a full slate. A couple teams have buys. Cowboys, Bills. Cowboys, Bills, Chargers, Jags, Steelers, and Vikings all have bye weeks. So there are some big games coming up. 3 in my mind that are big games this week are the Ravens, Bengals, and it's big for their division. Ravens can take a huge step if they win this game against the Bengals, which I think they will. They are one of my straight up wins. And I think they grab hold of the division at this point. The other one is the Chiefs versus the Titans. KC right now is sitting at 3-3, 1 game out of the division lead. The Titans lead their division, I think, by 2 games. This is a big game for both teams, but it is big for the Chiefs. I believe they need this win to solidify that they are a AFC contender. Because the Titans are a very solid team. You have to win. You have to win. The other one is the Saints versus the Seahawks. Why is this a big game? Well, it's big for both teams in their separate divisions. If the Seahawks lose this game, it is almost, not 100%, but almost going to be impossible for them to win the division at this point, and even harder for them to make the playoffs. Same with the Saints. The Bucs are essentially going to start pulling away. The Saints need to stay close. With that said, I do think the Saints win this game. I don't have faith in Geno Smith. Alvin Kamara is the better running back of both teams. I think if they limit Jameis Winston throwing the ball and they limit turnovers, I think the Saints can win this game fairly. I'm not going to say easily, but in good hands. And I think the Seahawks, who defensively have tremendous talent, they haven't put it together. And I don't know what's going to happen there. So much talent. And Jamal Adams got his money and hasn't shown up. So we'll see what happens. So those are my big 3 NFL picks. So let's move on to the wonderful world of baseball. We'll start with my annoying Dodgers. Braves lead that series right now 3-1. Game 5 is tonight, and Joe Kelly is getting the start. I don't know what Dave Roberts is thinking with this pitching staff and the way it's done. I know Clayton Kershaw is out, and I know that hurts your rotation. But what the fuck are you doing? Like, if it pays off, great. But you look like a madman right now, pitching who you're pitching in these pressure situations. The Dodgers have left 72 runners on base in 10 games throughout the playoffs. So they're hitting 221 with runners in scoring position. 72 runners in 10 games. The bats just aren't alive. Yes, there have been clutch hits, but as a whole, this team just needs to have these bats awaken. And the pitching needs to be better. They will take a lead and give it up the next day. They'll go up 2-0, and 2 innings later, it's 2-3. This is a total team failure at this point, including the managers. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is bad. For a dynasty that never was, because let's face it, this Dodgers team could have won multiple World Series. It had the talent. It just never put it together other than last year. This is a tremendous collapse. There's 106 wins, and your bats are sleeping. Your pitchers can't pitch currently. And the Braves, my guess is win tonight. I think the Braves close it out. I don't think they want what happened last year to happen again. And if you remember that, the Braves went up 3-1. Dodgers came back and won and went on to the World Series and won the World Series via a bad decision by Tampa. You know what I mean by pulling Snell. In my mind, Dodgers probably would have lost that World Series if Snell stays in. So, yeah, Braves lead 3-1. A very important game tonight. I don't expect the Dodgers to do much. They look defeated. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they put up a fight. I hope it at least goes 7. But they just don't look good as a team. They don't. And if I'm the Dodgers management, I look at Dave Roberts this season and say he failed, and I move on. I know there's injuries late in the season. Like I said, Kershaw, Muncy, and Gavin Lux. It's you have so much talent on that team. There's no reason that a few injuries should hurt you. Walker Buehler, Max Scherzer, Urias, they still have pitching. Would a healthy Kershaw help? Yes. Would Trevor Bauer, who is on suspension, help? Absolutely. I firmly believe Trevor Bauer would help. Now, I know why they don't. I get why they don't. But excuses aside, this team just doesn't look good right now, and I think the Braves close it out tonight. On the other side, in the AL, the Astros are up 3-2, which bodes well for me because on Twitter, I was talking to my good friend over at Apollo Media, Des, saying that I have the Astros in 6. That would be a 4-2. And right now, that looks really good. Other than game 1, all the rest have been blowouts. I think game 1 was 5-4, 4-5, something like that. Other than that, it's been like 9-2, 9-1, 7 something. Like it's not close baseball. And it's the Astros are doing what the Astros do in the postseason. And you may think that as a Dodgers fan, I may hate the Astros. I don't. I like the Astros. I like their players. That whole cheating scandal. Everyone cheats in baseball. Everyone does. They got caught. Theirs was really intricate. I was mad at first, but I realized that my anger was displaced, and it was more towards Manfred and how he handled the suspensions or lack thereof. But the Astros as an organization have kept it together. Dusty Baker's done a phenomenal job. Verlander went out, and Lance McCullers stepped in, had a great season. Imagine this team with Verlander. I don't know if they'd be stopped. Altuve continues to be clutch in the postseason. Correa continues to be a very bad man who will get his money, if not from the Astros. He will get it from somewhere else. God, I would love to see him in Dodger blue. I know it's not going to happen, but yeah. I think the Astros close it out next game. I think Game 6 at Minute Maid Park. I think Astros close it out. Astros go on to the series. I was hoping for a Dodgers-Astros rematch. As it currently stands, we won't see that. We'll see Astros-Braves, which isn't necessarily the greatest matchup for baseball in terms of ratings. But it could be fun. Like it would be fun to watch because both teams are really good. And there's talent on both sides. Now, it may not be Dodger talent where you know all the names, Bellinger, a Scherzer, a Pujols, Corey Seager, you know what I mean? But that Braves team is very talented, and they are a team, very much a well put together team. And the Astros are the Astros, so you got Altuve, Correa, Lance McCullers, Machete behind the plate. Like these guys are solid, and I look forward to a World Series, regardless if my Dodgers are in it or not. But yeah, like I said, I think that the Braves close it out tonight. I have no faith in the Dodgers right now. Total team collapse during the postseason. And the Astros, I believe, close it out tomorrow. So, not much baseball left. Enjoy it while it lasts. I'm not a big baseball fan during the season. I think the season's too long, 162 games. I can watch postseason baseball. That's great. I can listen to it on the radio. But enjoy it while it lasts because there's only a few series left. I want to jump into the NBA real quick. They had their opening night 2 nights ago. So not much has happened, but there's the Ben Simmons Philly saga. He, in the offseason, wanted to be traded, said he'll never play for Philly again. Showed up at the practice facility to practice because he doesn't want to lose money, had his cell phone in his pocket as he's practicing, got sent home, showed up to the facility today, got suspended or something like that. Like this, Joel Embiid came out and was like, I'm not his fucking babysitter. I don't care. You got Simmons coming out saying, I see what Giannis did winning a ring. He doesn't have a jumper. I can be that same guy if we didn't have to cater to Joel. It's fun to watch. I think Philly needs to get him out quick because they're gonna cause so much tension in that locker room with this going on. So Simmons needs to be gone quick and as soon as possible. The other thing I wanted to bring up was Kyrie out indefinitely. Nets management has made a statement that we don't need a part-time player. And what I mean by that is because Kyrie is unvaccinated, he would not be able to play in New York currently until those mandates are lifted, if they ever get lifted. So he would play on the road. What this shows me is that this Nets management, instead of standing behind their player, is being sheep and following this New York mandate and trying to look woke and all this stuff. And it's annoying. And I applaud Kyrie for doing what he's doing. But I wouldn't want to be on that team if knowing management doesn't have my back to say we don't want part-time players. Knowing full well who Kyrie is and what he believes in and what he does. This motherfucker saged the court. Like, he's on a different mental plane. You know what I mean? Like, he believes the earth is flat. You know that about him. And yet he doesn't want to get vaccinated. And now you want to play, well, we don't want part-time players, and he's out indefinitely. As a player, I'd want management to have my back, and it doesn't look like they did. And if I'm Kyrie, I look to get traded to, in Arizona, a team in Florida, somewhere that doesn't have the mandates that New York or California is putting on players, or at least a team that would have your back and wouldn't mind having you play 50% of your games. Kyrie is a top 10, top 15 player in the league. I would argue he is top 7 currently, and I would want 50% Kyrie rather than no Kyrie. You know what I mean? But that's all for NBA. There's not much going on right now. Season just started. What I do want to get in now is the NHL. It's been a good start to the season. It's been surprising. You got the Sabres, I think currently are 3-0. The Canadians, who were in the Stanley Cup, are 0-4. The Kraken started 1-3-1 on their road trip. The Golden Knights are now, I think, 1-2. And, it just shows how quick the NHL can turn. I don't think the Sabres stay 3-0. I think the Sabres are a bottom of the pack team. I think that'll show through as the season progresses. The Canadians, I'm not too sure of. They did lose some people. 0-4 is a bad start. I don't see them as a playoff team. Vegas at 1-2 is surprising, but not. Our top 2 players in Mark Stone and Pacioretty are injured. Alex Tuch is on the injured list. The loss of Marc-Andre Fleury was big. Alec Martinez went out in like the last game. So Vegas is dealing with injuries on top of a bad start. And what I mean by a bad start is their power play still is awful. There's been no changes to make the power play better. Leonard, who a lot of people kind of shit on, was the best Vegas player the other night and kept them in the game. Our defense, there's no cohesion. It doesn't look good, but it's 3 games in. That's the important part. We will have guys get healthy. We have 79 games left in terms of the Golden Knights, and this team is still a playoff team in my estimation, and I have faith in that, and I firmly believe Vegas will get better, and they'll play better. The Kraken, who have been on a road trip to begin the season, have their first home opener Saturday against the Vancouver Canucks in this Cascade rivalry kind of deal. They're 1-3-1. Let me say their one win was against Nashville, so it's not saying much. But they don't look awful. They look aggressive. And the problem with that is when the Kraken are playing aggressive, it showed against Vegas. Vegas countered and scored real quick. So they get off to an aggressive start. And that's not necessarily the best thing. This is a team that built from the back out, grabbing Decord and Drager in the offseason or in the expansion drafts, and then grabbing Grubauer as a free agent. And everyone was excited about Grubauer. I was more tentative with Grubauer because he played in a system in Colorado where the defense was great, led by Cale Makar. And I don't know how he would do in net with an expansion club. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Kraken did build defensively, and they're going to have to find the chemistry and the cohesion with their players. You can't just put Oleksiak and Giordano on the same defensive pairing because they're your best players. You have to even it out. You have to have, Giordano isn't a offensive-minded defenseman. Either is Oleksiak. They're both pretty much stay-at-home defensemen, but that other pairing where you got, one offensive-minded player, one offensive-minded defensive player, and someone who likes to stay at home. It's just about chemistry. It's about finding the right pairing, and I think that'll come as the season progresses. I've seen expansion through the NHL before. There will never be another Las Vegas Golden Knights. That was lightning in a bottle for the NHL. And personally, I think the Kraken have an outside shot at making the playoffs just because the Pacific isn't great. But the fans need to be patient with this Kraken team. They are very young. They are very aggressive, and that led to scoring and turnovers. And this fan base is freaking out. Grubauer's numbers have trended upward for the past 3 years. There's no reason to think that they'll get exponentially worse. Again, it's about finding the right defensive pairings on that Kraken team. Again, you could throw Giordano and Oleksiak on the same pairing. They're the best players defensively that they have, but then your other pairings are going to be weak. And that's not something you necessarily need. So, other than that, the NHL's off to a great start. The Red Wings look really good. Penguins look good. Ovi continues to rise on the goal-scoring list. Marc-Andre Fleury looks like Swiss cheese in the Chicago net, which makes me think maybe he's doing it on purpose so they trade him. I wouldn't put it past anybody. You know what I mean? Like, this is a business. Maybe he gets traded to Pittsburgh, back to Pittsburgh. He's a year removed from winning the Vezina. So it's hard to think that he just went to hell in a handbasket overnight. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see as the season progresses where we land with certain things, certain players. Another big thing coming up this weekend is the F1 race in Austin, Texas. Last podcast, I said it was last week. I forgot that they had a week off in between, I believe it was Turkey to U.S. The race this week is in Austin, Texas. It's at the Circuit of the Americas track. It is the U.S. Grand Prix. The last winner was 2019, was Valtteri Bottas. No reason it was 2019 because 2020 was COVID. They skipped the U.S. Run. This is a 3.4-mile track. It's very intense. The fastest lap to be recorded there was Bottas with 1 minute 32 seconds and 0:29 in qualifying in 2019. Now, unfortunately, qualifying doesn't count in record books. It has to be during the race, and that belongs to Charles Leclerc. At the 2019 USGP, he ran a 1:36.169. As the standings sit now, you got Max Verstappen leading the championship, drivers' championship at 262.5. Right behind him, you have Lewis Hamilton at 256.5. That's 6-point differential with 6 races left. This is huge. This makes for fun races. This makes for intense races because every point counts. The Constructors Championship, let's in American terms, sponsorships, right? Mercedes leads 433.5 to Red Bull Racing 397.5, 36 points with 6 races left. That seems like a lot. But considering you can get 25 points for first place, 18 for second, 15 for third, and so on, it's a gap that can be made up in a couple races should Red Bull, Max Verstappen, and Sergio Perez, Checo have some good races, as well as Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas and Mercedes not having great races. I want to show you real quick the actual track, because that is it's pretty cool. Boom. Right. So this is the track of the Americas, right in here, right? So this is where they'll be racing. I'm bad with camera stuff. Look at that, man. The big things here, and this is going to be very important for Mercedes and Red Bull, and I think Mercedes has the best straight line speed, is this straightaway right here, this sector 2. Right there. Boom, that blue line, 11 to 12. That straight line speed for Mercedes is going to be amazing, as well as 20 down to 1. I think this is where you're going to see Mercedes try to overtake if they have to. This is where you'll see them, if they're in the lead, where they gain time against their opponents. Straight line speed for Mercedes is almost unrivaled. Red Bull is the closest. It all depends on positioning. And so it will be fun to watch. If you see the DRS detection zones 1 and 2, DRS is essentially a draft type speed. So when you're a second and a half behind a car, your DRS systems will take action, and it almost gives you 15 kilometers per mile faster, helps you pass. It's pretty cool. It's like I said, it's like drafting in NASCAR. Cutting down wind resistance and giving you the ability to pass. And so when you have the straight line speed, you're going to see overtaking probably between the corners here, right there. So you're going to see straight line speed. You're going to see them try to pass at corners or curves. As you can see, there's 20 curves in this circuit of the Americas. Sector 1 is in red, Sector 2 is in blue, Sector 3 is in the yellow. My money is on Max Verstappen. I think he wins this race. I think he has a lot going for him, and I think he has just a better read of the track at the moment. And speaking of Max Verstappen, he was recently voted F1's most popular driver by the biggest fan poll conducted in F1 history so far. Lewis Hamilton was surprisingly third. Lando Norris was second. Lando Norris is a young British driver, good-looking guy, so I can see why he was a favorite among females. But if you really, like I said, look at this track, the Circuit of the Americas, this straight line speed, man. If you watch the race this weekend, watch this straight line speed and watch these Mercedes cars, watch the Red Bull cars, watch how fast they go. This race is going to be awesome. It's just going to be amazing. And I hope it's safe, but you're going to see some intense rivalries with Verstappen and Hamilton jockeying for position if they are close. And the two have been known to dust up and get into it throughout this season and last season. Max is not a driver who gives way, either is Lewis Hamilton. They both have a winner's mentality. So if you get a chance, qualifying is Saturday. Practice runs are going on today and tomorrow. Race on Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's on ESPN or ABC. Other than that, Champions League football went on this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Europa today. There were some decent games in the Champions League this past week. PSG 3-2 over Leipzig. Real Madrid 5-0 over Shakhtar. Man City handled Club Brugge 5-1. Ajax beat Dortmund surprisingly 4-0. I expected that game to be a little bit closer. Atletico Madrid lost to Liverpool 3-2. Antoine Griezmann scored 2 in the first half and then got a red card in the second for a high kick. A little dangerous. Yes, definitely a red. I don't care what anyone says. I think you raise your boot that high, hit someone in the face, it is an automatic red. Bayern beat Benfica 4-0, and that's not surprising. Chelsea 4-0 over Malmo, and nothing surprising there. And then probably the game of the week, Manchester United beat Atalanta 3-2. Atalanta was up 2-0. Real quick in the first half. Fans in Manchester were booing, jeering Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, their manager. And then something changed at the half. I don't know what it was. Ronaldo said something to the team, I guess. And they stormed back. And in the 81st minute, Ronaldo put one in to give them the 3-2 lead. And then they defended like their lives depended on it. And they saw it out and won 3-2, which was big for them because now they lead the group. So in Group A, it is led by PSG at 7 points and Manchester City at 6. The top 2 teams will move on for sure. So Group B, Liverpool at 9, Atletico at 4. C, Ajax has 9, Dortmund has 4, which is surprising. Dortmund has 6, which is surprising. I was really surprised to see Ajax beat Dortmund. D is weird because Madrid has 6, but they're second behind Sheriff Tiraspol. Now, I've never heard of this team. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to look them up. They're in the Moldovan league. I didn't even know Moldova had a league, let alone a Champions League a team. So, but yeah, as of right now, Sheriff Tiraspol is tied at top of the group for the Champions League, which is great for soccer. It's going to be great for this team for the money that is involved. Group E, Bayern has 9, Benfica has 4. Group F, with Manchester United's major comeback, lead that group 6, and Atalanta has 4. G, FC Salzburg has 7 points, Sevilla has 3, and in Group H, Juventus has 9, Chelsea has 6. I don't think much changes on the next round of play, but I do think we might see Sheriff Tiraspol drop down a few notches, and Real Madrid really run away with that group. So we do have, honestly, some extra time because I didn't do a big show for this week, just because I got so much stuff to do today, washing hockey gear, making sure my stuff's ready for work tomorrow, being an adult, watching kids. So I think as of right now, the podcast is going well. I am looking for another host to come on. I know Coach Zach has Ducks Game Day Breakdown. If you get a chance, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's growing. He works on top of that. It's hard to try to find time that we can mesh together and really get in here and talk because our schedules right now are so different. But I do want to get him back on, especially with hockey season. I want to talk everything going on. But I am looking for other kind of hosts to kind of come in. I do want to have almost like a round table of guests, and I want to just shoot the shit. A lot like Spitting Chicklets, just spit out random sports, talk, you know what I mean? But yeah, that'll do it for today's show. You see that little link scrolling across the bottom. Put that in your address bar. You will find all my links to the YouTube, the Twitter, Amazon Music, all the stuff that I am an ambassador for, from the Beard Struggle to Omni Shaver to Ray's energy drinks, along with the codes to give you those discounts. hit those up, and we will, see you guys and help you out with your beards and all that good stuff. There's also, discount codes in there for the beard struggle, 20% off. Take care of your beard. If you like to shave your head, like I do, Omni Shavers on there as well with the code for Omni Shaver. But yeah, until next week, guys, this has been phenomenal. This has been Sporta. This is Sporta, and we will see you guys when the time comes next week.